Ah, okay. So, I saw Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. And I have to say, it was surprisingly a really, really good movie. They finally got it right. It took them 5 tries. But they finally got it right. They finally put out a decent film. So, yeah, it was actually really, really good. And most people think I go in there wanting Twilight to be bad, but I don't want it to be bad. I just expect it to be bad. But yeah, no, they surprised me. They really, really surprised me. I don't know if I've gotten used to Kristen Stewart's acting or she's gotten better, but she wasn't bad in this one. Excuse me. She actually wasn't that bad. Actually, she's not that bad. She wasn't bad at all in this one. When she was doing the love scene, she was pretty awful. But, you know, with the rest of the movie, she actually pulled it off. I don't know if she's been taking acting lessons or, like I said, I've just gotten used to her shitty acting. But, I believe she was, she looked like she she didn't look like she was pretending to be someone else. She actually, I believed it was Bella while I was watching. I didn't see Kristen Stewart pretending to be Bella. I just saw Bella. It's not because I'm used to her being in the role. It's just, it wasn't, she just didn't do the usual, yeah. That bullshit. She actually acted. She actually emoted. So, yeah. The special effects were way better. They actually put money in this one. And you know, in the third one, special effects was still a little shitty. But this one, I mean, they really, really went all out. So that was. But you know what? None of that is the reason why this movie was good. The reason this movie was good was because it didn't center around Edward and Bella. It centered around their child. And that's pretty sad. I say that's sad because, give me a second. Ooh, excuse me. I say that's sad because when you have an entire series and the centerpieces of that series is what's dragging it down, that's a problem. Like, you should be invested. The series revolves around these two people and they're the worst thing in it. And that's a huge problem. That's when you have to look at your story and try to figure out a way to make them not the problem. Because you can have a series that be very successful with everything around it being shitty. Well, obviously the centerpieces can be shitty too, considering how big this is. But that's for other reasons. But you can have a really bad story, and the centerpieces drives the plot. The centerpieces drives the story to make it a good film. But you can't do that when the centerpieces, they just drag the film down. And that was the problem with the Twilight series. It was Edward and Bella. How can I put this? The problem with Edward and Bella, you had the series, the other four movies, with the exception of the first half of the third one, the other 4 movies was about this girl who has this uninteresting girl with an uninteresting life attracted to this stalker who has the personality of sandpaper and all the charm of a paper bag. And it just went on and on and on. None of the characters ever suffered. There was never any consequences for any of their actions. And they never learned anything. They never grew as characters. They just stayed in that one spot. personalities never ever changed. He was uninteresting, she was uninteresting, and it just was stuck in stasis. And that was the problem. You're looking at these main characters who spend more time on screen than anyone else, and they're just blank. Just blank, just like zombies. They were just zombies. Just watching hours upon hours of two zombies on screen looking at each other most of the time. You didn't have that in this one. And I know. You don't go to the movies for reality. Because reality has consequences. Reality you learn. And I know you don't go to the movies but if you don't have the basic forms of reality, such as actions and consequences, actions and rewards, and growth, then you're not going to have a good movie. It's just going to be something up there on screen. It's going to be crap. And that's why the Twilight movies were crap. There was nothing hinted to any type of learning or growth or consequences. They just got rewarded. No matter what dumb stuff they do, there was just nothing but rewards. I mean, the second one, Bella's practically killing herself half the time. Well, okay. She becomes an adrenaline junkie and puts herself in constant danger to see images of Edward, like a schizophrenic. And what does she get in the end? She gets rewarded by having Edward back. Real life doesn't work like that. But see, that wasn't the case here. In this movie, there were consequences. Everything they did, there was a consequence. And a price to pay. There was prices to pay in this. Everything. Everything had a consequence. Everything had a price. Even if it was generally just putting yourself in danger. And that made this a more rounded film. It made it a more rounded film. And there was some funny moments in the movie. And you'll find yourself actually emotionally invested in what happens to these people. I actually cared what happened to their child. I actually cared what was going to happen to the Cullens. I was actually interested in how this person was going to react to this, or how this person was going to react to this. So yeah, it was a good film. It really was. And they introduced a lot of characters, a lot of new characters. So there's a lot of actors from the old ones that aren't in, like the chick from the last movie who was in Jacob's pack, and his younger brother, I guess that was Seth or whoever. Their characters are in the movie, but the actors aren't. They spent the whole time, every time you saw them, they were in wolf form. They spent the entire movie in wolf form. None of Bella's old friends are in the movie. They all got cut out. But they introduced a lot of new characters. And Dakota Fanning's in it again. Which was actually funny to watch because she's gotten taller since the last movie. But they still try to play her as that little tiny kid from like 2 or 3 or whatever was the first time she showed up. So you have these weird camera angles that you can tell are just camera angles to make her look shorter, so she just looks really funny. And if the music isn't all that great though. Okay, if I had to nitpick, yeah, some of the music was really bad choices. Like there's this one scene. Okay, there's this one scene where Bella's standing in the woods and she's in the sunlight, and then the sun rays come and she's sparkling, and the music they was playing sounds so close to Transformers. I mean, it really sounded like the slow music to Transformers. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I just had And with the imagery and the music, I just had like Robot Heaven flashbacks. I kept expecting the Primes to show up and give her the Matrix of leadership. But with the music, there were certain times the music was pretty bad at certain times. I mean, it wasn't god awful where it ruined the film, but there was certain times it was just like, yeah, that was kind of not really a good music choice there. But yeah, I found for the first time walking out of a Twilight film, I felt like I actually watched a well-rounded film. It had all the essential elements that you need for a well-rounded film. And I was very satisfied. I would actually go see that one again. And they did this thing which they pulled off very, very well. And this is hard to do because there's been plenty of movies I've seen, I'm not going to mention them. There's plenty of movies I've seen that pissed me off when they did this. And it's those I got you moments where you think something happens, but it really doesn't happen that way. And I've seen that in quite a few films, and it was just utter bullshit. It was so stupid that it just pissed me off. That's like, why would you even bother? But in this one, they pulled it off really well. And they actually got me. They got me. Because I was invested. I thought what happened, and then they were like, nope, fooled you. Gotcha, bitch. And I got. So I was surprised. So yeah, I definitely recommend you go check out Breaking Dawn 2. Hell, I would say if you've never seen a Twilight movie, don't bother watching any other ones. Just go see this one, and you'll be completely satisfied with the film. You'll have a great time and really just enjoy. You won't even care who certain characters are or where they came from. All you would care about is what's going on in that film, because there's enough explanation in that film where you don't need to know the backstory with this person and that person. The only thing you would have to know is what the hell is an imprint, and why did he imprint on this baby? That's it. That's the only real explanation you need. And once you find that out, the rest is self-explanatory during the film. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you check this out. Till next time, later people.